Gen Z and millennials think women's rights have gone too far, according to a new survey. So even they recognize that it's not about equality, it's about female superiority. The jig is up, man. We're on to you. You can't hide any longer. So a surprising number of people in younger generations believe that women's rights have gone too far, with a new survey revealing gender equity progress could be at risk of stalling. What do you mean stalling? We've already achieved it, and you guys got equality, and then you kept pushing further. No, it needs to go back to center. So, a new research conducted by Ipsos Airstrip One and the Global Institute for Women's Leadership at King's College London found that over half of the people in younger generations believe that a push for equality is now negatively impacting men, because it is, and that they are being expected to do too much to support progress. Yeah, more like supporting your own destruction. Like the men are basically forced to support things that are not in our best interests, or else. The survey collated the responses of more than 22,500 people aged 16 to 74 across 32 countries, including approximately 1,000 from Straya. So according to the results, 52% of Gen Z and 53% of millennials agree that we have gone so far in promoting women's equality that we're discriminating against men. Majority of them see the truth. This is compared to 46% of Gen X and 40% of baby boomers. Of course, the boomers would be on the other side of the truth. In fact, many of the questions showed that younger generations were less supportive of efforts to advance gender equality than the boomers. And why are the boomers pushing this on everyone, right? Why are they pushing all this woke stuff? Because they think that's what the younger generations want. Meanwhile, the younger generation is like, no, this is misandry. We don't want this. For Straya, 51% strongly or somewhat agreed with the above statement, compared to 41% who disagreed, with 60% of those who agreed men. That still means at least 40% of women's have brains now, so that's good. So when it came to the claim that things have gone too far in giving women equal rights with men, 55% of Gen Z and 57% of millennials agreed, compared to 53% of Gen X and 47% of boomers. Wow, we're still at least within shooting range of half for the boomers. There were more Strians who disagreed with this comment than agreed, but a higher percentage of men agreed over women's. And guess what? You don't have to agree with this. Like if you're a man, you could just go ghost, you know? You could just live a minimalist lifestyle, live for your hobbies, work a part-time job to pay all your bills, and then watch society freak out. Say, what are we supposed to do with all these men checking out? And then they try to make it seem like it's also hurting you in some way. So let me get this straight. Ever since I decided to go with this lifestyle, I have way more money. I work a lot less. I'm a lot less stressed. I'm able to have more time to spend on all the hobbies I love. But it's a bad thing somehow. Oh, right. It's because it's a bad thing for you, not for me. Oh, I see. So you're gonna make what I do about you now. Yeah, wait, no, don't leave. Yeah, so what's gonna happen is it's gonna be just like with Hollywood. They're gonna wait until after all the men leave and everything is falling apart. That's when all of a sudden they're going to start making changes. So that's when they're going to stop with the woke stuff. But by then, it's going to be way, way too late. So the majority of Gen Z, Millennial, and Gen X respondents also agreed that men are expected to do too much to support equality, with 55, 57, and 54% respectively. However, less than half of boomers agreed with this statement. Yeah, this is, basically, we're being enlisted to fight in someone else's activism. Like, oh, you who couldn't care less about this, or even worse, you who don't want anything to do with this because it's actively hurting you, are expected to do more. So for Straya, 42% somewhat or strongly agreed, and 46% somewhat or strongly disagreed. When the breakdown of the results further was revealed that 50% of Australian men agreed that with that statement compared to just 36% of Whammons. So now we know that 50% of Australian men are actually manginas, and only 36% of their women have functioning brains. So the report noted that the results pointed to warnings of a reaction to the government move for greater equality, and that progress on gender equality remains at risk of stalling. Yeah, progress on female supremacy is at risk of stalling. Oh, how sad. So compared with pre-Corona-chan, more people think things have gone far enough, and more people think the men are being asked to do too much. Now, you could ignore this all you want. You could keep ripping on men, but they're just going to leave. That's the advantage. Like I keep having to say this because there's a lot of idiots out there that call it, oh, MGTOW is just like feminism for men. There's a big difference though. Feminism can't exist without the government forcing it on everyone under the threat of, violence. MGTOW's different. Like that's just a natural reaction. A whole bunch of individual guys just come to the same conclusion and check out. Like, we don't need institutional power to do what we're doing. Half also believed that the steps towards women's equality are leading to discrimination against men, and more broadly, that there's slightly less confidence that life today is better for young men than it is for young women's. Yeah, there's definitely. I mean, women's definitely get a lot of preferential treatment now. That is true. In another surprise result, not surprising to the people who are actually paying attention, Gen Z and millennials were the generations that most believed a father who stays home to cook and after his child chillins is less of a man, with 33% of both groups agreeing with this statement. Oh, 30%. Yeah, you want to know what this is? This is just what happens naturally, right? So kids, they rebel against what their parents pushed on them, and that's all this is. Like this is the younger generations basically saying, yeah, we've had enough of this shit. This isn't cool anymore. It's not counter. Now it's counterculture to pretty much say that the men are actually now facing discrimination. This went back down 22% of Gen X, reducing further to 14% for boomers. When we break down to the Australian responses, 76% disagree, with more men, 23% agreeing with the statement than women's 15%. Former Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard, who is the chair of the Global Institute for Women's Leadership at King's College London, said that despite the regress that has been made in recent decades, high-profile examples of misogyny are still rife. And this is why we're always going to have these problems, because the goalpost is forever moving. This is a problem that will never be resolved because the professional victims that make money off of it will never allow it to be resolved. There are worrying signs from this research that such views are not only gaining ground among the public, but also deterring people from advocating for women's rights, she said. Yeah, like when we talked about college earlier, women already outnumber men in college 3-2. It's a 60 to 40% ratio. And yet you expect me as a man to advocate for more, like women's only this, women's only that. We need to get more women in this field. We need to get more women in college. No. We need to get more men in college, which I would actually be against that too, because if you're a guy, you're better off not going to college in a lot of cases. But no, when I see that women get preferential treatment and they get better results and they're outnumbering men in these fields, and yet you expect me as a man to advocate for them, it's not going to happen, man. Doesn't matter how much you play the victim. So no one should be afraid to promote equality. No, that's what we're doing. You see, you just don't realize you've gone from the underdog to the man. Opposing you is promoting equality. That's where you lose the plot. So you need much better supporting people to call out injustice wherever they see it. We literally just like the people in this survey called out injustice and said that it's gone to the point where men are being discriminated against now. And you're just brushing it off as a threat to women's rights. Is this how you treat it when people call out injustice? Yes, it is. So, however, Mr. Garrett said it's also important to identify the positives where they are found, including that people are increasingly likely to identify as a feminazi and believe that there are things they can do to improve gender equality. Yeah, like one of the main ones is fight against feminism, by the way. So, yet we mustn't be complacent that it's the younger generations who are most likely to say a man who stays home and looks after his children is less of a man is a disturbing reminder that there's still much to do and the future progress is not guaranteed. This is a blowback because you went too far. Do you not see this? Well, obviously you don't. Well, either you don't or you do, but you're just conveniently ignoring it. So while some of the responses from younger generations may be concerning, there are other aspects of gender equality that are more open to they are more open to than the other generations. For example, 45% of Gen Z and 44% of millennials define themselves as feminazi compared to 37% of Gen X, 35% of boomers. Gen Z are also most likely to say that in the past year they've spoken up when a friend or family member made a sexist comment, and then they complain about their mental health when that friend or family member disassociates from them. With 27% agreeing with this statement compared to 16% of boomers. Majority, 68%, also say they have taken at least one action to promote gender equality in the past year compared to 41% of boomers. They didn't ask in which direction, though. That could be either way. So, Chief Executive of Ipsos, airstrip one in Ireland, Kelly Beaver, MBE, at least she's appropriately named, said the research shows that significant gender equality progress has been made, but there's still a long way to go. Yeah, now you guys need to focus on propping men back up, but you're not gonna. So there are signs the public is starting to push back on the regress to date, and which is potentially worrying, but it may also be a sign of real changes happening in society, and change can often make people uncomfortable and resistant, she said. Remember those words when they're used against you. Remember, it'll be just like with AOC, right? Like, remember how AOC was all proudly proclaiming that protests are supposed to make people feel uncomfortable? And then she was bitching when they showed up on her doorstep. Like, well, you're supposed to feel uncomfortable. Now, Ms. Beaver hopes that over the coming years, this is coming with a shift to acceptance of achieving gender equality, which is essential for progress. Yeah, and I'm seriously convinced this might be the great filter that is always talked about as like one of the solutions to the Fermi paradox for why we don't see aliens out there. I mean, I got my own opinions on that. Don't got enough time to get into that now. No one cares anyway. But one of the solutions is that there are one or more what's called great filters that prevent species from becoming, interstellar, maybe even intergalactic. I'm thinking this is one of them. Like maybe we haven't even hit the great filter yet, because there's all sorts of theories that maybe the jump to multicellular life is a filter. Maybe the jump to going past nuclear technology without wiping yourselves out is the filter. Maybe the filter is that as a species we keep dragging ourselves down to the lowest common denominator. Maybe the filter is that the best and brightest don't just cut off the ball and chain they're dragging behind them and leave them to their own devices. Yeah, maybe the filter is that instead of focusing on becoming an interstellar species, we're trying to drag everyone behind us. No. We'll find out, though. We'll find out. Like they're already trying to sabotage efforts to go to the moon and Mars. They're already getting NASA to parrot the talking points. Oh, our most important goal right now is to get a woman and a person of color to the moon. Yeah, so they're going to leave the best and brightest behind. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, guys. You do what you want. I'll be dead by the time all this really comes back to bite you anyway, so I don't really care.